All right, we're going to be talking about educational spaces today. I know many of you are choosing to educate at home. Well, should I say some of you? Others are being forced to educate at home. Depends on how you look at it, right? Well, we're going to be talking today about three tips to help you think about where and how you're going to let your child do some online education in your home. Well, I'm Lorraine Brock with Get Organized. I own a professional organizing company here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And we actually go into your homes and organize spaces such as educational spaces, craft and supply closets, home offices to better make you efficient and to maximize space. So, I'm going to be talking today about the three tips that I want to share with you before you actually create the space. We're going to talk about what you need to consider to be in the plan for making that decision about your space. Just some things that, as organizers, we have really thought about when we go into our clients' homes, and even more so now. So, I want to share with you a little something that I actually keep on my kitchen table. And I get more compliments about it, but it is so true. How many of you guys feel this way about bringing cell phones to the table? I mean, seriously, let's talk about this. Don't even think about bringing that cell phone to my table, Mom. That's just the truth. And this stays on my table. I'm a pretty big stickler on not having the cell phone at the kitchen table and being on it when we're eating together, whether that be at a restaurant or whether that be at my back patio or at the kitchen table. I'm really pretty strict on that. However, if you want to watch a movie and be on it, I mean, more power to you. But we're going to talk today about being where you're going to set your homeschool education up. Now, again, it's not homeschooling, and I want to make that very clear. Homeschooling is totally different than education online, and I know because I've done homeschooling before, and it is tough. It is very tough. But it was very rewarding to be able to be your kid's teacher and see them learn right before your eyes. So in this case, we're going to talk about the three tips. The first one being location. If you've ever been in real estate, location, 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 right? It's the same thing in your home. Now, things you have to consider, which I'm sure you already are, is you're probably working from home and your kids are going to be working from home for their education, at least for a temporary period of time. You can't be in the same room, most likely, and not at least in all cases, because one's going to be on one computer and then the other's going to be on another, and there's questions and dialogue back and forth and conference calls and all those things that might get in the way of being in the same room together. Not to mention little Johnny or little Susie coming in there and like, you want to play? I mean, they're not even in school yet and they're distracting the other ones that are. So you have to think about those types of spaces. But more importantly, I want you as a parent to think about this. When you're considering where you want to put that technology, let's say you have a small closet you converted into an education space. It's quiet, no one's going to bother your child. Think about the message you're sending for future time on technology. And I just want you to, I know it's temporary, but I want you to consider that you probably need to have a conversation with your child about this is not how we're really going to supervise and be on technology in this household. It may be for a small period of time that the technology, there's some exceptions based on what is needed, but you don't want your child to think it's okay to go in a closet and be on a computer unsupervised. And while you may not struggle with this now, I think most all households struggle with this as their kids get older about seeing content, and not just seeing content they shouldn't see, but also screen time, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So make sure you're thinking about this. It would be great if you could have some glass doors that they're in, like French doors or something, that you can sort of see where they're at, and keep them accountable. But that may not be always the case for everybody. So figure out where you're going to have it, but also have that conversation about accountability, and about that this would not be the norm going forward after this education is over with. The second tip I want to give you is a couple different apps that are going to be pretty good resources for you to control screen time. Now, many of you may already have technology that's already on your computer that offers monitoring weekly or daily reports that you can see where your child is going, how long that they have been there, and set up some security protocols that will make their environment with technology more secure. So look to see what you already have. I know we use Microsoft products, and they have had things in the past with our kids. They would send us, if someone spent too much time on there or went to sites that were not appropriate, or we could block sites. How much time over an entire week were they spending on each site? And it really helped us. So look at that before you go purchase something. But the two that I want to mention are about $7 a month to have. One is called limit screen time. Or it's actually called screen time. We call it the limit screen time. And it will actually pause your child's whatever they're on if they get to the point they've exceeded that time. It's a little bit less organizational because you don't have to set up actual amounts of time in every category. For example, there's another one called unglue.com. And Unglue allows parents to schedule screen time rather than just shutting it down. So there's a lot more controls, a lot more versatility, but you have to have the time to do it. Where if you're just wanting something a little bit more simple, like your screen time shuts down after you spent this much time on the computer or phone or whatever, and again, taking consideration the education part, it will just automatically shut it down. And there's other features with these as to security, things that you can prevent them from seeing. So great apps. They ranked very highly on my research that I saw. Now, the one that's called Screen Time is only for Android. So if you're an Apple user, that's not going to be an option for you. You would want to go with the unglue.com app and check those out for some monitoring of screen time. One of the ways that we monitored screen time, and let me just tell you this, my husband is in the IT world, massive gamer, massive IT person. And so when you have three sons like we do that were at that time young men, high school, middle school, even elementary, trying to get dad to control screen time and the kids to control screen time is like, it didn't always work, but they were always with their dad. And actually looking back, it was a blessing because it made their bond really strong. I think it was one of the areas, but it also had them have accountability when they were on with their dad. And we had computers all in a central area, which I really liked, and it really helped. But that brings me to my third tip is a nightly check-in. Make sure that you're right. We're all in weird different times that we're having to rethink some things. So one of the things I would do is make sure you had a nightly check-in of technology. That would be great for mom and dad because it could really help marriages, just saying. But definitely for the kids. That means tablets. That means computer desktops would get shut off. And phones, if your child has a phone, would get checked in. And you can create a little station in a very open area like the kitchen, something that's a very common area that the household sees. Make sure that that is set to also on your apps. Like, for example, I mentioned the unglue.com and the screentime.com. Make sure that those settings are still set to shut down at night, but that they can't also have access to the phone. That means look at photos, text people, things like that. Make these exception to the rules, these times that we're in, not the rules. And I'll be honest, when we first introduced I want to say a tracking device, but it was very similar to that with my kids driving, or where we could identify where they're at when they're not at home. That was, if you do it, the younger you do it, the more easy it is for them to digest and then forget about it. And then they do about their daily lives. And all of a sudden you don't have to go back and under duress times and say, I'm going to be tracking every move you make, and then that doesn't go over well. So nightly check-in time, setting up these apps, and picking a location in your home are all things you guys need to discuss now. Don't wait, because you're setting up what the expectations are. Think about some consequences. Think about if those rules are, what's going to happen if those rules are broken. Just monitor it, because their kids are going to be on the screen for the schooling, but also on the screen for entertainment after the schooling is over. And you want to really consider about limiting that, organizing that time, organizing a plan, and organizing some consequences that are very clear and upfront. So when school does start, there's not a lot of drama, right? We know what the expectations are, and we've talked about them as a family. And I think that would be a really wise decision for your household. All right, well, those are my 3 tips for education of spaces. And don't forget to get something like this for your table or something similar. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. Love it. And I've gotten so many more compliments on it. All right, so each week we give away some type, or excuse me, every month we give away some type of giveaway. And this month we're giving away, in the month of July, these instant swivel wheels. They are an as seen on TV product. They hold, I think, 250 pounds. They peel and stick on, and you can see the pictures on the back there. They can be put on so many different types of furniture. You can wheel them out of the way rather quickly. We're going to be giving this away. So how do you win? Leave a comment down below, or share any of our Tip Tuesdays in the month of July with your family and friends. And the more you share, the more you comment, the more you get entered to win. And we'll mail the winner out and announce the winner out the first Tip Tuesday in August. So that's it. If you have a topic that you would like me to touch on, feel free to make a comment down below, and I'll consider that comment and that tip and that idea and implement that into one of our future Tip Tuesdays. Well, I am Lorraine Brock with Get Organized, helping you get your home, business, and life totally organized here on Tip Tuesday. Have a great week.